At By Chloe, we are redefining what it means to eat well. Our flagship fast casual vegan restaurant opened in July 2015 in the heart of the West Village on the corner of Bleecker and McDougal. By Chloe is open 7 days a week, serving an all-day menu created by best-selling cookbook author and award-winning vegan chef Chloe Coscarelli. From the first day we opened, we've been overwhelmed with the reception By Chloe has received. From lines forming out the door to a bustling dining room and loyal group of amazing customers, we are grateful to have received both customer and critical acclaim, along with attention from local and national media outlets from the New York Times and Wall Street Journal to Veg News Magazine, Vogue, People Magazine, and national TV, including CBS, NBC's The Today Show, and ABC's The Chew. At By Chloe, we aim to share delicious, wholesome, plant-based food that fuels and energizes without compromising flavor, taste, or satisfaction. All of our ingredients are sourced locally and organic whenever possible to create a chef-driven menu made from scratch by us every single day. By Chloe fills a niche that has not yet existed within the fast casual market, offering healthy, ethically sourced meals that are also hearty and satisfying. We offer guests the chance to indulge without any sacrificing or guilt. Led by creative director Samantha Wasser, the By Chloe brand identity was created by Paper White Studios, inspired by the typography found at vintage supermarkets and the beatniks who once frequented our flagship West Village location. By Chloe was designed by Descartes Design, taking inspiration from the branding to feature black and white accents with tasteful pops of color, warm textiles, a wall of vintage mirrors, and inviting hanging swing chairs. The By Chloe space was designed to welcome guests, giving customers the feeling of dining at a full-service restaurant, but with the convenience of a fast casual experience and price point. The menu at By Chloe can satisfy any craving with satiating burgers, bountiful salads, fresh pastas, and more. From our best-selling Guac Burger, topped with our house-made chipotle aioli, to our spicy Thai salad, sweet potato mac and cheese with shiitake bacon, or our collection of sweets, including our signature Closest cupcake and old-fashioned chocolate chip cookie. Our menu features an eclectic selection to suit the appetite of even the hungriest carnivore. By Chloe is more than a restaurant concept, it's a lifestyle brand reflecting our mission to inspire diners to eat well, eat with purpose. In addition to our core menu offerings, By Chloe also offers a line of cold-pressed juices, house-made vegan ice creams, a custom blend of green coffee, and more. From our employee aprons to our custom merchandise, each partnership with By Chloe is carefully curated by Wasser to strengthen our brand identity beyond our menu. With new locations in development and plans for brand expansion, we are excited to take By Chloe out of the West Village and share our dream with guests across the globe.
Okay, welcome back. We have our first project presentation right now, and it's somebody who's been on our show. I think, David, you've been on every single one of our shows that we've done, and again, touching on the theme of transparency, nobody has been more transparent than By Chloe. Not only do we do the pre-subscription verification for all of your projects, but we're doing the ongoing as well. So we're coming back to see the stores after the investors have come in. For those people, David, who don't know about By Chloe, let's hear the introduction. Where are you guys? By the way, we were here a year ago, and you had just started funding the West 22nd, which was your first CB5 offering. Mm-hmm. And let's catch up 1 year later. Where are we now?
So we're really creating a brand here at By Chloe. We now have 7 stores open in the United States, 4 in New York City, 2 in Boston, and 1 out in Los Angeles. Our Los Angeles store is actually a partnership with Whole Foods. And a component of that partnership will be beginning in late September. We're going to start wholesaling in the New York stores. There are 13 Whole Foods in New York. We're going to begin wholesaling both our pastries. We have 8 pastry items that will wholesale into the Whole Foods stores, as well as our ice cream, which we call Chill by Chloe, vegan ice cream. So that partnership is really growing. On top of the 7 stores that are all corporate owned in the United States, we've recently signed an international agreement for Europe and the Middle East.
Wow.
Our partner there has 2 leases signed in London, one in Covent Gardens and one in Soho, and is finalizing a lease in Dubai. As well as we've also signed an agreement with a Canadian operator, and I was actually in Japan last week interviewing operators who want to bring the brand to Japan. We also have 2 other stores under construction, Rockefeller Center, which is in Midtown Manhattan, 48th Street, which is one of the stores that we're in the process of going through the offering documents on, and we'll be offering that to 2 investors, as well as Providence, Rhode Island, which is right across the street from Brown University. And when you look at sort of our demographic, college students play into our brand exceptionally well. So we think as time goes on, we could be at every major college or across the street from every major college in the United States.
So let's come back to the EB5
Sure.
portion and just start off with the basics, so that for an investor who may not be familiar with how your structure may be different from some of the others that we're going to be seeing later on. So to begin with, you are a direct investment. You are not a regional center investment.
Correct.
And your construction is done typically before an investor even invests, and they're simply replacing your equity. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
So what we wanted to do was try and take all of the risk, or most of the risk. It's impossible to take all of the risk out of the equation, and to do so, what we felt was that we would build the stores, we would fund the stores, we would enter into a bridge loan with the NCE and get the store open and then start taking subscriptions in. And what that really does is, and I was listening to the first couple of guys talk about the transparency that the construction developers really have issues with. We don't have that issue because the store has been built, the store is open, the store has been paid for, the jobs have been created, and then we take your subscription in. So we eliminated the risk of the job never getting built and never opening, because we're not going to take any subscriptions in.
In other words, you're using your own developer equity to fund the development and construction, do the lease out, do the improvements, and then actually staff the store, open the door, and that includes all of the titling and permitting and
everything.
It's your own financing. So the store, if an investor is interested in subscribing to one of your offerings, they can actually go visit the store, walk in, have one of your vegan burgers, and then if they decide they like the burger, maybe they invest $500,000.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And what we've decided to do based on locations is either offer 2 units of $500,000 each or 1 unit. So for example, in Providence, where we don't feel we're going to get the same type of volumes that we have in New York City, we're offering 1 unit for $500,000. We're pro forma to create 21 full-time jobs, and we didn't want to really be that tight for 2 investors, and that would mean 20 full-time jobs. So in that case, it's going to be one investor, 10 full-time jobs. But Rock Center, for example, if you look at our Bleecker Street and our 22nd Street store, both of which are grossing $120,000 a week, we actually think Rock Center is going to be a better performer than those. We're very comfortable with our pro forma of 30 or 31 full-time employees for a Rock Center store.
So you're scaling the number of investors by both the size of the store and expected volume of sales?
It's more volume of sales than size of store, because if you look at Rock Center, it's a 2,700 square foot store. 22nd Street's 1,400 square feet. So, you know, just because we have a bigger store doesn't mean we're going to do bigger volumes.
Right, it depends on the traffic.
Correct. And Williamsburg in Brooklyn is a perfect example. Williamsburg is 2,600 square feet. It's now open 2 or 3 months. That offering is going to be one investor for $500,000 because that store is not doing, you know, the numbers that that we're doing in our other New York City, Manhattan stores.
So you're trying to maintain that margin in case there may be some staff level reductions because of operating hours or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you can tailor that so that you only have one investor and you only need the 10 jobs, and you are trying to keep a comfortable cushion.
Correct. In there. In our minds, we want to have at least 150% of the required full-time employees, meaning for a store with one investor, we want to have at least 15 full-time employees. For a store with 2 investors, we want to have 30 full-time employees. Sure. So, you know, that's one way. With a direct investment, as most all know, you don't go through the jobs report and the economic studies and have an economist put together what they believe will be the job creation. We are working off of actual and direct full-time jobs that are created at the store. And we have that data, of course, because we use, you know, very sophisticated payroll systems that track the hours of every employee, and we know exactly who's working 35 hours or more at every store.
Right, and just on that topic, I should mention that part of our site visit reviews, when we go to the store location, we also come here. We're actually filming in your corporate headquarters on 3rd Avenue. So we can come here or remotely see the payroll numbers and the volume and all of the other sales. So we have access, and we're giving this information to the investors so that they understand how the stores are doing in terms of the metrics. And that's something that you've been a proponent of, is being very transparent about how the stores are doing, both financially and in terms of creating the jobs.
Yeah, and I think when you offer direct investment, you have to open your doors and be very transparent. If any of our investors want to have a conversation with me, my door's open, and I'm happy to do so. And I think that's what really gets bogged down with the regional center, is you're talking to the regional center, who then has to go back to the project manager. The project manager goes back to the regional center. Things can get lost in translation. We have direct relationships and direct contact with each and every one of our investors. And I think it's important to note, so right now we've funded our first 3 stores, 22nd Street with 2 investors in Manhattan, Lafayette Street, which is in Soho, with 2 investors, also in Manhattan, and our Seaport store in Boston, with 2 investors.
Right, and now so let's talk about the expansion, because I know a question that we get from many investors. They're concerned about the regional center program possibly expiring at the end of September. You're not necessarily affected by that because you're a direct investment. If they're, for whatever reason, they may be interested in investing in New York, perhaps in Boston. I know you have additional locations opening up there. Can you give the investors who may be watching a roadmap as to where new locations may be opening?
Sure. So right now we are offering investment opportunities in our Williamsburg store in Brooklyn, which opened in March. We're offering investment opportunities in our Fenway store, which opened in June.
And for people who may be overseas and not know, that's in Boston.
That's in Boston,
right.
Correct. It's a block and a half away from Fenway Ballpark, where the Red Sox play. Mm-hmm. We are under construction at Rockefeller Center here in New York City, which again we think is going to probably be our highest grossing store. That store we expect to open sometime in the middle of September or late September. And you know, I know for us and for investors, it's extremely important if they are going to invest in an EB5 project, to do so before this, you know, September 28th or 29th deadline, when the whole model might change. Not for direct investments, but the minimum investment's probably going to go from $500,000 to $800,000, which you know, would then change our model too, because we would probably then just go for one investor for each store in all likelihood. So Rock Center should open before that September deadline, and then we have Providence across the street from Brown, which will also open from before that September deadline. So right now we're offering We have 4 stores that are either open or in various stages of construction. 3 of those stores we're offering 1 unit in, one $500,000 investment, and the Rock Center store we're offering 2 $500,000 investments in.
So David, I want to ask you the one question I get when investors ask, they see your project on the portal, they want to know, they always say restaurants, you never know, it's a high-risk enterprise. They come in, you could be a fad, but I mean, E Squared, the parent of the brand, as you call it now, by Chloe, this is not your first rodeo. You guys have actually done other restaurant concepts, and this seems to be taking off. But can you talk to the investors who are curious about why you think this concept isn't a fad or may have this growth?
So let me just go back to what E Squared is. So we now own or manage 35 restaurants globally. Our main brand or concept is BLT, which is a steakhouse. Which is worldwide now. We have 3 in New York City, and we're also in Hong Kong, Seoul, Japan, a number of Caribbean islands, and around the United States. So we have a infrastructure here of over 40 professionals in every varying aspect of running restaurants. So whether it be accounting and finance, branding and design, marketing and PR, we have 3 people working solely on project management, creating stores, building stores. So the corporate infrastructure that we built can support a tremendous number of growth opportunities. The By Chloe brand, it's vegan, fast casual. And when you look at sort of our customer base, we really cater to the 16 to, I'd say, 35 to 40-year-old person. 70% of our customers are women, and less than 10% are actually vegan. So what the food does is have a mass appeal because it tastes great. It's a great alternative to meat type dishes.
Yeah, your burger joints, which there are a million of.
There's a million. So if you look at our best-selling burger, it's the Guac Burger.
The Guac Burger.
Right. So the patty is made out of sweet potato, quinoa, and beans, topped with guacamole, a spicy aioli sauce, and this is the type of diet that a lot of millennials, are a perfect example, don't want to go to a hamburger joint. They want to eat a cleaner, less cholesterol filled, more healthy.
Yeah, not only
diet.
is it healthy, but their perspective may be it's also good for the environment.
It definitely is good for the environment because we're not using any animal products whatsoever. It's 100% plant-based. It's also kosher, which also, one of the reasons why we think it's going to take off in the Middle East is because of dietary restrictions of many of the citizens in the Middle East. So we feel that that's going to be a great market for us, and potentially our partner there feels they can open 20 or 25 stores just in the Middle East in the next 3 to 5 years.
Because the food is really, it's universal. It's not, when as Americans, when we go offshore, we're happy if we can see perhaps a burger place that we're familiar with because that's the food we grow up on. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting with your store, the food is really truly universal. It's food that people have been having around the world for ages.
Yeah, and it's craveable. And I think you're a perfect example. When you came in initially,
I was a skeptic.
You were very skeptical,
yes.
and then we went down to the Bleecker Street store, and you had a burger and the mac and cheese and one of the salads, and you walked out of there just saying, I can eat this on a regular basis, and you're a carnivore, right? You eat meat. You're not adverse.
And I have to say to the viewers, it's not just me. If you go on Yelp or any of the other customer food-based reviews or any of the other third-party review sites out there, you have literally thousands of reviews from non-vegans saying the quality is really outstanding.
Here's a funny story. So when we initially opened, Michael Simon is a food critic here in New York on the Food Network. His wife just happens to be vegan. And so she dragged him into our store down on Bleecker Street, and there's a J.G. Mellon's right across the street, which arguably serves the best hamburger in the city. And so he went in just to sort of appease his wife and started eating. The next thing you know, he had no interest in going across the street to J.G. Mellon's, thought the food was great, and had a full meal at Chloe. So we have a mass appeal because of not only the plant-based, non-cholesterol aspect of the food, but it's delicious. It's very, our pastries, you couldn't tell that there's no cream or eggs in any of our cookies or cupcakes, and the same with the burger. If I put a hamburger in front of you and one of our burgers in front of you, you might know which is which, but I don't think you would turn down our burger over a meat-based hamburger.
No, I having eaten at your stores many times during not only the openings but the site visits, I can attest to that. So just to bring this into a close for the investors who may be watching, if they're interested, you actually give them, because it's direct through the portal, you give them a discount on the subscription. Of course, all of your verification reports are available to investors and attorneys if they're interested in knowing about any of your stores. But how do they find out more? If they want to visit a store, what do they do?
Well, we're listed on the portal, and all of my information, contact information is on the portal, and feel free to contact me directly. And if you're in New York, Boston, or LA, we'd be happy to host you, and you can see the goodness of our stores. And I think you bring up another important point. So what we decided to do, because it's a direct investment, because we're a new kid on the block, we decided that we're going to make the administration fee only $25,000 versus the $50,000 to $60,000 on most other transactions. We're also paying a preferred return of 2% to our investors versus 25 or 50 basis points, because again, we think to set ourselves apart in the EB5 world, we're willing to offer better terms than most other offerings in the marketplace today. And so far, again, we've raised $1 million for a store for 3 different stores. We're now marketing 4 new stores, and we have 2 leases signed behind those. One's in Boston, one's back here in New York. So we're going to have a pretty robust pipeline of new stores over the next 3 to 5 years, not only in the New York and Boston area, but other metropolitan cities in the United States. So we expect to be a repeat issuer in the marketplace, and we want to make sure that we offer an attractive product to our investors.
Great. Well, David, as always, it's a pleasure having you on the program.
Michael.
Thank you very much for hosting us here today. And I want to make a special announcement for anybody who is watching, especially in the New York City, New Jersey, Connecticut area. We are doing a special cocktail session very close by at the Wayfair. David, for those who are in the area who may be watching and would like to come by and meet with you and the other presenters, where is the Wayfair?
It's 101 West 57th Street, right on the corner of 57th Street and 6th Avenue.
Okay, great. So we invite everybody to come into the Wayfair and meet with us today at 5:30. David, again, thank you for having us, inviting us, and we'll see you all. Stick around for the next presentation, which will be the ECHO Fund. Thank you.